This bullshit. I know if y'all had proof of me robbing somebody, we wouldn't even be talking. Y'all would have cuffed me. I would be charged with it. That's what I know, bro.
In January 2020, rapper DaBaby, also known as Jonathan Kirk, was scheduled to perform at a nightclub in Miami. However, when the club owner paid him only $20,000 of the $30,000 he was promised, things quickly spiraled out of control. The alleged victim claimed that Kirk struck him in the face several times before members of Kirk's entourage joined in the assault. The man was reportedly beaten and thrown to the ground, then robbed of his cell phone, credit card, and $80 in cash. The incident was partially captured on blurry CCTV footage. Kirk fled the scene in a black SUV but returned to his hotel hours later, where both the victim and law enforcement officers were waiting. He was taken into custody and informed that he was being held in connection with an ongoing investigation.
We just gotta do our investigation and that's it.
As it turned out, the investigation wouldn't be so straightforward, and unfortunately for the officers, Kirk used his time in the interrogation room to demonstrate exactly how to handle such a scenario, making the authorities' job as challenging as possible.
What's your full name?
Come on.
We just want to get it for you. This is just a formality. Just tell, name, date of birth, and all that stuff.
Right away, it's clear this won't be an easy case for the investigators. Kirk begins by refusing to respond to any of the officers' questions, even something as basic as stating his name. He's already been given his Miranda rights, which inform him of his right to remain silent, and it appears he's choosing to exercise exactly that. Interestingly, though, he's opting to forego his right to legal counsel, and let's be real, it's definitely not because he can't afford one. The smartest move in a situation like this is to stay quiet and request an attorney, but this time, Kirk seems certain he can talk his way out of it on his own, as long as he's careful with what he says.
An incident occurred at the hotel, 1500 Southwest First Avenue, that you were there for. Correct?
What incident?
An incident. You had an altercation with somebody?
No.
You didn't. Did you have a business dealing with somebody?
No.
You didn't?
No.
So somebody didn't bring you $20,000 in front of the hotel in your SUV?
No. Somebody had somebody bring $20,000 that wasn't theirs and lied to them and told them that it was for an event of theirs on the 31st. And lied to them. That person, once he realized they were doing bad business, said nah and left with his $20,000.
Okay, so you didn't count?
And got my contact information to do business the right way. That's what happened.
Around what time was this, sir?
I don't know. Every time they told us. Whatever time the camera showed me not robbing no damn body that time.
Kirk is insisting that he had no involvement in anything that occurred outside. His account is a bit vague, but he's basically claiming that his manager was in talks with an event promoter about performing at a nightclub called Cafe Iguana Pines. However, it turns out the cash they were offering had been stolen, and the promoter was behaving suspiciously during the exchange. So instead of accepting the payment and proceeding with the show, Kirk says he told them to sort things out and walked away without any confrontation. This, of course, doesn't clarify the altercation outside that was visibly captured on video, but with the footage being unclear and no witnesses present to positively identify the attackers, as long as Kirk sticks to his narrative, things could theoretically work out just fine.
Common sense. You know what I made to even be down here? A promoter booked me at that hotel. I didn't pay to be at the hotel. I was paid for. You'd have let me in my room, you would have saw close to $250,000 cash, legally, hard-earned money. I don't got to take nothing from nobody, bro.
Well, let me ask you this.
I will go outside of here right now and throw $10,000 in the air. Like, I do not care about no money. I don't.
Was there an argument?
No, it was an argument. I didn't argue with a soul. My voice was never raised. There was never aggressive language from me. None of that.
Was there a fight?
None of that. No, I ain't seen no fight. And nothing was taken. We shouldn't be in no robbery, bro. So when y'all get done doing what y'all doing, y'all need to do y'all job. Y'all need to follow y'all process. And y'all need to arrest whoever gave y'all these false allegations, bro. This is bullshit.
While it might seem like Kirk is just flaunting his rapper wealth here, this is actually a smart angle for him to highlight in this scenario. If he's casually doing random $30,000 gigs during the week and covering expenses for hundreds of thousands of people each month, why would he need to steal $80 and an iPhone? The more distance he can put between himself and the incident, both physically and metaphorically, the better. From Kirk's perspective, he wasn't anywhere near the scene of the crime, had no motive to be involved, and has a logical, well-grounded alibi for where he was at the time. On the other hand, from the detective's view, a crime occurred and Kirk's vehicle was present at the scene, so they have to work to draw out the details they need to reconstruct the timeline and create a narrative that Kirk can't dispute, one that ultimately pushes him toward a confession.
When I encountered you in the hotel, you came back to the concierge, the counter. Yeah. Where were you coming from at that point?
Prime, whatever the hell. I went to eat. I went to get some food.
Where's that?
I don't remember.
You don't know?
No.
How'd you get there?
In the car.
What kind of car? Was it a car you drove? Somebody else drove?
An Uber.
An Uber?
Yeah.
What kind of car was it? Small car, SUV, truck, what?
I don't know. Let's talk about what matters.
That's why we're here.
Let's talk about what y'all need to get me about this stuff. When I'm driving in the car, what I went to go eat, what time I went, that don't have nothing to do with the fact I ain't robbed a damn soul. Me, nobody around me, ain't nobody robbing nobody.
Let's take the word robbery out of the picture.
So while we here, we taking the word robbery out of the picture. Y'all are robbery detectives. This is robbery unit. That's the second word he said. That's the second word he said when he came in here. Robbery. Come on, bro.
Okay, listen.
He told me he asked to question me about a robbery when I walked in my hotel. Robbery. I had every answer to the question you needed right there. Whoa, that ain't it. That's false. Okay. Throw that out the window. We talking about robbery, bro. It's nothing for me to talk about. I didn't rob.
So do you think that we just woke up this morning and decided to just...
I think y'all got a phone call from somebody that's already a liar. I know they're a liar. Got a phone call from somebody that's a liar and y'all bought it. Y'all believed it. Y'all got me in here and y'all put me in handcuffs. Brought me outside the hotel in handcuffs, cameras and shit all on me. Come on, bro. This shit is bad for what I got going on. And I ain't even do shit to that, man.
Even without legal counsel in the room, Kirk clearly knows how to handle himself. At this point, he holds the advantage in the interrogation and intends to maintain it. The officers are trying to find anything that links Kirk to the scene, but by steering the discussion away from that and back toward what he believes actually matters, there's little chance they'll uncover the evidence thereafter. Still, despite being in control, it's worth mentioning how odd it is that he hasn't requested a lawyer. Kirk clearly understands how to navigate an interrogation and has obviously studied how to respond in these situations. If that's the case, he should also be aware that there are very few circumstances where asking for an attorney could negatively affect his position. Whether it's pride or just a momentary oversight, Kirk is definitely winning this exchange, but he's about to take full control.
I'm talking about criminals. When I do business, it's legally binding. It's legally binding. Everything I do, you have to sign a contract. You got to sign a contract.
Okay,
it's a contract right now.
The whole incident happened and nothing went wrong. Nothing happened. There was
not to my knowledge.
There was no fight. There was no scuffle. There was no.
I ain't fighting nobody. But y'all know it's too much. Y'all know too many lies. You get what I'm saying? That's why y'all got to move backwards like that, bro. Like
you're saying that they're lies, but you don't know what we have done.
Okay. I know if y'all had proof of me robbing somebody, we wouldn't even be talking. Y'all would have cuffed me. I would be charged with it. That's what I know, bro. That's what I know.
Now, while this isn't necessarily the case in every situation, it's definitely accurate here. If you find yourself in an interrogation room and the police are questioning you about the specifics of an incident and accusing you instead of formally charging you, it most likely means they lack the solid evidence required to do so. In most situations, an interrogation is used to obtain a confession when they don't have enough proof to easily secure a conviction otherwise. There are a few more specific circumstances, like trying to understand the motive behind a crime, but usually, it's pretty clear why you're being questioned based on what you know about the incident and the nature of their inquiries. If law enforcement already has undeniable proof of your guilt, cooperating can sometimes work in your favor. However, if they can't concretely prove their accusations, it's best to remain silent and request legal representation, especially if you're in a vulnerable position.
We're
I
trying to
ain't
hear
no
your
fool.
side of the story.
My side of the story is I ain't done that. I don't have a side to the story 'cause I ain't done nothing to nobody. Bro.
So that's what I was asking. So
and before something could be done to
nothing
me,
happened, right?
and before something could be done to me, I realized I was dealing with bad business, and I
Why do you
removed
say it was
myself
bad
from
business?
it. What?
Why do you say it was bad
I
business?
already told y'all that. You want to rewind this? You want to rewind it, bro? I already told y'all, bro. My story not gonna come out different no matter how many times I say it, bro. It's not, bro. It's right here. So you press stop and rewind and play, you're going to hear. That's why I said it was bad business, bro. Come on, bro. There's nothing blowing my phone up. I was saying all night. He needed my help for his event. He already was in deep water because he's already doing, and I see why. He's already doing bad business. You see what I'm saying? He has an event that wasn't going to go as planned. He needed me to make up for that. He needed me to cover his ass, so he brought in another person, lied to him, swindled him. He thinking he coming to book me for a whole different event, and they tricking him, got him paying me to come do a walk through tonight. Come on, bro. These niggas full of shit. And matter of fact, check them cameras. Y'all got crime scene investigation unit out there, check the cameras. See him meet up with somebody else in the lobby. Ask him, hey, who's that? Ask him. Follow up on what I'm telling y'all.
That's what we're trying to do.
At the end of the day, I would expect people to act on common sense anyway.
The officers have come to the conclusion that they're not getting anything useful from him at the moment. He shared his version of events and made it clear that it's not going to change regardless of what they say. So, following standard procedure, the detectives step out of the room to regroup and figure out their next strategy. This tactic also serves another purpose. It gives the suspect time alone to sit in the room and potentially grow more anxious. In many situations, this can actually be the deciding factor in getting a suspect to crack. But in Kirk's case, he simply leaned back, closed his eyes, and took a nap. This guy genuinely could not care less. However, it appeared the detectives couldn't figure out their next move and ultimately accepted that nothing they did was going to make this guy crack. The next time an officer entered the room, it was to discuss the security of Kirk's possessions left behind in his hotel room. Although he hadn't been convicted, he was still considered the main suspect in the case, meaning he'd be spending some time behind bars while they worked out their next steps and gathered whatever evidence they could. So, they needed to decide what to do with his belongings while he was in custody. Naturally, Kirk refused to let them handle his stuff and told them to let the hotel manage it. Kirk was potentially facing up to 15 years in prison, a $10,000 fine, and any extra charges they could tack on for the alleged assault. But that would only happen if they could actually collect enough proof, evidence they certainly weren't getting from Kirk or the obscured surveillance footage, which was the only indication that the crime had even occurred. So, after just 48 hours behind bars, DaBaby was released and allowed to go on his way. 2 months later, all charges were officially dropped, and he walked away a free man.